Hello, good afternoon. My name is Carl Gonzalez. The chapter I chose to speak about is chapter number 3, the Celtic Kingdoms. England has always played the most powerful part in the history of the British Isles. The other countries, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland, have different histories. Let's start with Wales. In the 8th century, the Celtics were driven into the Welsh Peninsula. They were kept out of England by this big giant earth wall called Offa's Dyke. The Celtics called themselves the Cymry. Because Wales was a really mountainous country, the Cymry could only live in the crowded valleys. The rest of the land was rocky and poor for anything except keeping animals. In Wales, the society was based in family grouping. One of each owned one or more villages and also farm settlement. Um, one by one in each group, a strong leader made himself king. Throughout the year, this king tried to conquer the others, and this is how the idea of senior, hide, and king developed. In the year 1039, Godfrey Lowland was the first king of Wales that was strong enough to have the culture in the whole country. He was also the last king, and in order to remain his control, he spent most of his reign fighting his enemies. Let's talk a little bit about Ireland now. Ireland was never invaded by the Romans or the Anglo Saxons. It was a land of monasteries and also a place where the Celtic culture flourished at its finest. In Ireland, there were five kingdoms: the Altars, the Munsters, the Leinsters, the Concord, and also Terra. It is in the year 430, where the Christianity arrives in Ireland. It is during this period um, where the history of Ireland starts, because it is exactly during this time where people were able to write down events. This era it's called the Golden Age, and during this age, the people from Ireland didn't know about the invaders, and as we mentioned before, the culture flowered at its finest. Um, the Golden Age ended with the arrival of the Viking invaders. The Vikings stole all the monasteries. They just left the stone memorials, and it was because they couldn't carry them. The Vikings also forced the Irish people to unite, and it is in the year 859 where the first High King in Ireland is chosen. Well, now let's speak a little bit about Scotland. As a result of its geography, Scotland has two different societies. In the center of Scotland, mountains stretch to the north and across to the west, beyond which lie many islands. And Scotland was divided in four different groups of people. The first group were the Picts. These people lived in the north and the northeast, and they were very different from the Celtics because they inherited their rights, their lands, and their names from their mothers instead of their fathers. The second group of people um, that that was established in Scotland were the no pickage or the Scots. The Scots were Celtic settlers who had started to move in the Eastern Highlands from Ireland in the fourth century. The third group was the Britons. They lived in the lowlands and they have been part of the Romano-British world. The unity of this different group of people had many reasons. First, and they all share the same language and also the same culture and same background. Scotland was a really difficult country to rule, even from its capital. If we take a look at this map, we can see how the control on the mainland and on the islands was a problem. Travel during the winter was often impossible, and during the summer it was difficult and slow. It was pretty easy for a clan shift or for a novel thrown off the king's rule. Well, this is everything. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for your time and your attention.